And welcome to Lake TV's High School Basketball Coaches Show, as always brought to you by the great folks at COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center, Hy-Vee, both in Osage Beach and Jefferson City, the O'Sullivan Bruce Group, that's part of RE/MAX Lake of the Ozarks, and our veterinary at the lake. And our guest this week, we've got Coach Craig Campbell of the Camdenton Lakers. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Very good. Okay, it's kind of been a crazy, of course, the last few years, but this year, kind of a crazy winter of different illnesses going around. A lot of colds, COVID positives, and stuff like that. How's your team been able to handle that so far?
Up until the last couple of weeks, we've been pretty good. We've got a couple of kids that are out that hopefully we'll get them back this week.
Yeah.
But that's one of those, every year, doesn't matter, every year there's always sicknesses go around, and you have to kind of adapt to and make some changes there. But hopefully we get everybody back pretty quick.
That's probably true for the basketball season, maybe more than any other season, because it's winter, right?
Yes, and it carries over 2 semesters. You got the holiday break. Everybody goes to see people and get sick, see family members that are sick, and then they carry it over. And so with all that, there's always some sicknesses during the season.
Absolutely. Some extra challenges because during the holidays, they're also going home and porking out, right? Putting on a few pounds, and then you get them back, got to try to run them into shape.
Get them back in shape, yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so you guys have been in a lot of close games this year, your Camdenton Lakers, and games that could have gone either way. It's got to be a little bit frustrating as a coach.
I mean, it is. It's one of those that I think it's probably more frustrating for the players than it is the coach, because as a coach, I've seen it. I've seen it before. I've had teams at Camdenton that's been that way, where they've been really close and just couldn't get over the hump. My first year, we had 12 games where we were tied or had the lead in the last minute and a half and couldn't pull them out. And this group's similar in that we're tight and we're close and just finding ways to not be able to pull them out. And the growth that they've shown on the year is as a coach, I see that.
Yeah.
As a player, you still don't see that very often. You just see that win-loss, and we came out on the losing end. Not the growth of we didn't have 20 turnovers, we got down to 10 and stuff like that.
Right. So there's kind of a double-edged sword to that. I mean, obviously it's very frustrating. You want to win those games. On the other hand, you can say, you know, we're in games, so if we can figure out whatever that thing is and make it click, we can start winning these suckers.
Yeah, and that's one of those that the tough games are the ones when you learn the most, not just about how your abilities and everything, but kind of what you have inside. And I've noticed a couple guys that I wasn't expecting to kind of have stepped up to try to fill those roles to get us over that hump, and I'm excited to see where they go in the next couple weeks. So.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so with that in mind, who are the guys that have stepped up for you that you're really proud of?
Well, one of them's a sophomore, Oscar Robbins. He kind of got some minutes here and there early in the year. He actually made the Willard All Tournament team.
Yeah.
Which is a big honor. There's some good players there in that tournament, but we've kind of slid him in a starting role since we came back from break, and he had a really good game against Central, and then he was kind of sick against Glendale, but he held his own. I mean, Glendale's big. They started 3 guys over 6'5".
Yeah.
And so he's kind of stepped up, and we're looking to him to step up even more. Aaron Pogue has kind of tried to take on more of the scoring role when we need him to, when we need a bucket. Cooper Barrett's cut down on his turnovers the last few games, and that's helped a lot. And so just those 3 guys, and then I mean Riley Webster and Tommy McElday both have shown glimpses of that toughness that we need to be able to pull those games out.
Nice. Young Mr. Oscar Robbins. Now, when we did your game against Osage, he stuck out. I mean, this kid, and he's just a sophomore, right?
He's just a sophomore.
This guy has got a pretty bright future with you guys.
Yeah, and he's one of those kids that doesn't realize how good he could be.
Yeah.
That we're trying to get him to look to score a little bit more, and right now he's still, if he can, he will, but he's not going to try to force it, and at times we kind of need him to force it, and it helps us, and because he can. He's got good post moves and can score. He makes a difference on the rebounding end and the defensive end.
Yeah.
Not just on the offensive end, but he's one of those kids that doesn't realize how good he can be, if he will really start applying himself to the craft outside of just season, he could be really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Missouri high school sports is kind of interesting. You got your conferences, which are different from your districts when you get into the playoffs. So the conference, very tough in basketball this year. You got the Springfield schools. So Kickapoo, the defending state champs, I think are 11-2. Glendale 9-3. We talked a little bit about them. Parkview 8-2. It's pretty tough to get through that conference unscathed.
Yeah, and you forgot to mention Bolivar's.
Bolivar's
in the Ozark Conference now, and they're number 2 in Class 5 and lost one game. And so, it's tough. I mean, Morala's in there, and they've only lost, I think, 3 games now, maybe 4. I think they may have lost on Friday, but they beat Bolivar. They're the team that beat Bolivar, and so it's a tough conference. It really is, and you can't have a night where you have a quarter off or even a couple minutes where you have kind of a bad couple minutes if you're going to win those games.
Absolutely. Okay, we're getting to know what's going on with the Camdenton Laker basketball program here on the High School Basketball Coaches Show. More with Coach Campbell right after this. What is COMC? A health center where everyone has access to high-quality, affordable medical, dental, and behavioral health care, regardless of insurance or ability to pay. Offering primary care, preventative, chronic, pediatrics, and OBGYN. COMC even offers comprehensive dental and same-day emergency care. A health center that focuses on every aspect of your health. Everything your family needs to stay healthy. At COMC, your health is our mission. It pays to be a senior and shop at Hy-Vee. It's the Hy-Vee Senior Discount. Your produce, snacks, household necessities, deli and bakery, mealtime favorites, and everything else in between. It's the Hy-Vee Senior Discount 7 days a week at Hy-Vee in Osage Beach and Jefferson City, where it pays to be a senior.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family. And at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offers routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. With multiple convenient locations, our veterinary is the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah, Nicole, what do you need?
Did you see that new listing in Sunrise Beach?
Yeah, it was just listed 2 minutes ago.
It has 150 feet of lakefront.
And a brand new kitchen.
I'm headed out there after I type this email.
I'm on the phone with my clients. Hey, where are you going?
I already put an offer in, cash above list, and it's looking good.
Are you kidding me?
The temperatures are cold, but high school basketball is red hot right now. Join Lake TV for great January matchups featuring Osage, Camdenton, Lebanon, Eldon, Versailles, and California. Mark your Lake TV games on the calendar and join us for the COMC pregame show just before every tip-off. Brought to you this season by Central Ozarks Medical Center, Millard Family Chapels, Slumberland Furniture, Mike Heitman, State Farm Insurance, Hy-Vee in Osage Beach, the O'Sullivan Bruce Group, Jerry Phillips Movement Mortgage, Ozark Homes, Sunrise Movers, Our Vets at the Lake, Vera Cruz Restaurant, Serdike Yamaha, SRG Financial Advisors, LakeExpo.com, and the Missouri State High School Activities Association. Welcome back to Lake TV's High School Basketball Coaches Show. Camdenton Lakers head coach Craig Campbell with us this week. So you've got the big Laker shootout coming up. That is a big event every year. What is the Laker shootout? Because it's not a normal tournament, right? It's kind of, is it just a one-day thing?
It's a one-day thing. We got teams coming from all over the area. Chillicothe's even coming down. They make kind of a weekend out of it. They come down Friday, spend the night, and play on Saturday, and usually go back Sunday. But it's not a typical shootout like that. You hear the shootouts in the area and stuff where it's just a one day of a bunch of games. usually those are only varsity teams, and ours is unique in the fact that we have the JV and varsities coming and playing.
Really?
We have the JVs in the auxiliary gym and in the main gym we have the varsities playing, and so a lot of teams like to come to our shootout because they don't lose a JV game that way.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Is it boys and girls? Just boys?
Just boys this weekend. The girls actually have their shootout, I think, the following weekend.
Okay, cool. So there's more than one shootout
Yep.
then. Oh,
Yep.
that's kind of interesting. Do you like that as a coach? Is that something good? You kind of get to see a lot of different teams. And
As a coach, it's just extra work, but as a basketball fan, yeah, absolutely. I love it because I can sit and watch basketball all day long and not have to travel to multiple gyms and get to see good basketball.
Yeah.
And so as a basketball fan, absolutely. As a coach, there's just a lot of extra stuff going on that it's not that much, but it's just kind of changes your routine. And as a coach, game day, you kind of get in a routine and try to get your players in a routine. And those days you can't really do that. So.
Right, absolutely. So we're into the meat of the season right now, and it's been a struggle to find wins, but you've got some games coming up. You might be able to really get on a roll, pick up some W's, and keep on going. You got Lebanon coming up; they've struggled this year. We mentioned Rolla; that's a pretty good team. Hillcrest 4-8, Waynesville struggling a little bit. So you've had so many hard games. It would probably be nice to get in there, pick up a few W's.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to come by in the Ozark Conference anyway for wins, and so if you can get a few, and then those teams you listed, we kind of play them all back to back to back, so maybe we could get on a roll and maybe pull some upsets at the end too.
It's kind of funny how that momentum works. The mind is a funny thing in sports, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Where once you win once or twice, and all of a sudden you figured that out, it can snowball.
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence that's involved in that, and when you get some wins, whether you played well or not, that builds a little bit of confidence, and then, like I said, the momentum is one of those that if you're involved in sports, you know what momentum is. Whether you've actually could describe it or not, you've seen it. You've seen it happen. It happens in games, just in different possessions, but even in seasons where I know of teams that have got on a roll and then end up winning some games that they probably shouldn't have because they've been on that roll, and other teams that are probably better that have lost 2 or 3 that end up losing a game that they probably should win because they've on the wrong side of the momentum train, and so that's one of those. If you're involved in sports at all in any part of your life, you know what momentum it looks like in that. So that's always something you try to build.
And we've all seen it, where
absolutely.
Teams that were really good the year before, they won a couple of games early in the season because they still think they're good.
Yep.
Teams that were bad earlier lost those games because they didn't think they were going to be good, but they figure it out as the season goes on.
Absolutely.
It seems like.
And that's kind of the goal as a coach is you want to try to build that confidence and that momentum to be playing your best at the end of the season.
There you go. Can you do that as a coach? Can you try to gear the team up for that toward the end of the season?
A little bit. I mean, that's one of those that you're kind of building the mentality of some of these games we lost early don't really matter in the long run because what did we learn from those to get better as we go, and I said with districts in I guess about a month and a half now.
Yeah,
it's one of those that going in our district, it's a tough district, but if we can get some momentum going into that, I mean, we could make some noise, and you never know.
Yeah. Well, you won the district title just a couple years ago.
Yep, just a few years ago.
Yeah. So the team kind of knows they can. Speaking of the district, we talked about how tough the conference is with all those Springfield schools. The district, you've got Springfield Catholic in the district. They're 14-4, and they're for real.
Yep.
And Glendale, we mentioned them earlier. They're 9-3, I think, right now. They're for real. So if you do catch fire, you could give these teams a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and that's one of those teams usually going in districts are kind of coasting at the end, where teams that have been working to building up to that point usually have the momentum. And it's one of those, it doesn't matter when you hit district time if you're 20-2 or 2-20. It's 0-0 when district starts.
That's the beautiful thing about Missouri high school basketball. Well, there you go. That's what's going on with the Camdenton Lakers. Coach Craig Campbell, thank you for joining us for the High School Basketball Coaches Show.
Thank you for having me.